Thank you, thank you. Wonderful to be here in Fort Pierce at Indian River State College. I want to thank Dr. Moore for hosting us. We're also joined by Florida Secretary of Commerce Alex Kelly, as well as Catherine Marshall, the CEO of Diamond Defense Systems. And she's also going to speak today about our announcement. We're proud of what we've been able to accomplish in the state of Florida. We're working with the legislature right now while they're in session for next year's budget. And I can tell you that there's a lot of states that are in pretty dire fiscal shape. This state is not one of those. This state is in very good shape. We've been able to, every year since I've been governor, provide tax relief. Last year we did $2.7 billion, which was a record by far for the state of Florida. And yet, even with that, we're running budget surpluses and actually paying down debt at an accelerated rate. So since 2019, we've paid off 25% of Florida's total debt that we've had. In Washington, D.C., they just keep adding to the debt. You see that debt clock, $34 trillion, just go up. If we had a Florida debt clock, it would be counting down, not up. Imagine that. Isn't that great? And so we're working with the legislature, and we're going to continue to provide tax relief. We're going to continue to accelerate debt retirement. And sometimes you don't want to do all of it early because sometimes it's better to wait a little bit. But if we can get an advantage, we're going to do that. And I think that that's something that's good. And to put this in perspective, as a U.S. citizen, your share of the nation's federal debt is over $100,000 for each U.S. citizen. As a Floridian, your share of the state debt in Florida is about $600. And so, not that we'd ever ask you to pony that up, but it's like, that is not something that is that is difficult. So compared to 100,000. So we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to continue to work with them. I know I've talked with some of the legislative leadership. They're very keen on, yes, we've had revenue come in so fiscal year started July 1st. I think we're up, $1.5 billion in revenue over estimate, and they keep raising the estimate of what's coming in. And so we're cutting taxes, and yet this revenue's coming in. It's because the underlying dynamics of the state are strong. So you see that, but when you see that, people can say, oh, well, we got this money, let's spend. And I think they're wisely saying we're going to continue to be a very strong posture. Now, with having said all of that, I think that we can take pride in we've made really important investments in this state that has really been beneficial for the people of Florida. I was able to highlight just the other day, we were over in the Everglades agricultural area. We just opened the first stormwater treatment area of water flowing there. That was a pipe dream 10 years ago. We've done all this stuff for environmental restoration, which has been really, really good for our state and will continue to pay dividends for years into the future. We've also done a lot with education. If you look at our K through 12, we just did $1 billion earmarked just for teacher salaries in this current fiscal year. We're going to do $1.2 billion. I think we'll work with the legislature next year. And we've been doing this every year in escalating amounts over the last 4 or 5 years, and we've never done that before in the history of the state. If you look at our performance in 4th grade reading, 4th grade math, most recent NAEP results, we're 3rd and 4th in the country in 4th grade reading and 4th grade math. And if you controlled for demographics, we would be number 1 in both. So, and some of that is that we've provided resources. Honestly, a lot of it is just having good standards and focusing on the basics, a lot of parental choice, which has been really, really big. We're also proud of our higher education system. If you look at our state colleges and universities, we have the top public higher education system in America now. And that's something that's something we should be proud of. And part of the reason I think that it's a good system, is because we've ensured that it's affordable for people. If you go to, you can go to as an in-state tuition, our universities, it's like $6,400, give or take. that is something that's attainable for people. You know, you look at some of the tuition around the country, particularly these private schools, it's like $50-some thousand tuition. Actually, some of it's even more now. It's incredible how you could do that. So our state colleges are very affordable, which we appreciate. So we're going to keep that going. I think that's something, and we have not raised tuition since I've been governor at our universities, because I think it's something that we want Floridians to be able to have access to. And then if you look at the Bright Future Scholarship, you can get all of that paid for, or 75% depending on what level you fall into, you know, if you're a high-performing student. And so that really makes it so that it's good, and we want to continue to do that. So we're proud of that. We're also proud of supporting law enforcement. We've had $5,000 signing bonuses now for 2 years in a row for all new recruits coming into Florida law enforcement agencies at all levels. It's county level, municipal, state level. We've done 4,000 recruits from both inside and outside of Florida that have come in. And I was in the West Coast 4 or 5 months ago, and I ran into a police chief in Southern California. I said, "How you doing?" So we're doing great. Just all my police officers want to move to Florida now because of what you guys are doing. So we're proud of that, and we're happy to do it. But we've really done a lot to ensure public safety. So I think we've used money wisely while reducing debt, running surpluses, and cutting taxes. And I think that's really should be the model for how we govern ourselves at all levels of government. And compared to other states, New York is millions less people than we do now in Florida, and yet their budget's twice the size of our budget. And yet, when people move from there to here, what do they tell me? "Oh my gosh, your roads are better, your services are more efficient, your schools are better." And it's like, okay, how are we doing this with half of what they're doing it? And our state government per capita for employees is the lowest in America. So it just shows you this can all be done. You just got to have the right priorities, and you got to exercise leadership. And so one of the ways I think we've made an impact is through some of the grants that we've been able to direct out of the governor's office. And we've done both the Rural Infrastructure Fund, which we've done $82 million since I took office, and then the Job Growth Grant Fund, which we've done $190 million since I took office. And these are projects that people apply. They're merit-based. I mean, we obviously will make the decision, but we can really make a difference very quickly to help folks. And of course, we've done a lot on workforce education, even beyond the Job Growth Grant Fund. But one of the things we've used Job Growth Grant Fund for is workforce development. And we've worked with our state colleges. We did the big truckers event a couple years ago where we're increasing commercial driver's licenses that are produced in the state of Florida. That's a huge demand, huge thing. We went from, I think, producing 600 a year, now we can do 3,500 a year. And that was partially through what we've done with Job Growth Grant Fund. And we've done we've done infrastructure projects that have been, I mean, maybe there'll be a community that's got an industrial park and you just can't get to it, so we can put a few $1 million down and build a road to connect to it. We've been able to do a lot. We've helped with aviation, and we've helped with airports and a whole bunch of things. Even on the I think we did Brevard County. We did a big award a few years ago. So we're happy with doing that. So that's why we're here today, because we see an opportunity to use the Job Growth Grant Fund to really make an impact, not just with workforce, but also for the economy here on the Treasure Coast of Florida. So I am today pleased to be able to award a $4 million grant through the Job Growth Grant Fund to Indian River State College to create a new Center for Ballistics and Emerging Technology. And this is something that I think is right in our wheelhouse as the state of Florida, because what the center is going to be able to do, students are going to learn skills they need to make ballistic assault barriers, including bulletproof glass, walls, and doors. So we pride ourselves on being a law and order state. We've backed law enforcement across many different ways. Well, this is another way that we're doing this. I mean, to have glass in a police cruiser that can actually withstand shots could be the difference between saving an officer's life or not. And I've seen some of this. You know, some of our vehicles that we use at the governor's residence, and I think maybe throughout the rest of the state, you know, you hit the glass. I mean, it is thick glass. I mean, you can see how it can be very, very effective. So this center is going to be used to test and design new materials and equipment. And we have Diamond Defense Systems here. Catherine Marshall is going to speak, but they're going to be partnering with Indian River State College to help connect the students with employment opportunities. Diamond Defense Systems already makes bulletproof glass that is used by law enforcement to protect them on the job and at the police stations. And so I think this award makes a lot of sense. I think it's really going to help students be able to achieve really tangible, marketable skills, but also do it in an industry that is going to have an impact on public safety and on the streets of the state of Florida. So we're excited about doing this, and we're going to hear from a couple folks, but before we do that, I'm going to present this check. So Dr. Moore, anyone else that wants to come up here, you guys.
The chairman always takes the check.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Well, Governor, thank you so much, and I'm Alex Kelly, Secretary of Commerce. You know, I don't know if anyone heard, by the way, Florida is #1 in the nation in talent development, and it's thanks to this governor. It's thanks to leaders like President Moore. You know, I think, Governor, the way you direct us, the way you push us, it's to move with velocity, move with purpose. President Moore, I think anybody who knows you move with velocity and purpose. I think there's a lot of people here who know you, but really, but really and truly, you know, the state's economy is growing through its workforce. The governor, through his leadership, through the work that's being done throughout the state, the elevating of the workforce is causing this economy to boom in so many ways. It's been 2 years in a row we've ranked #1 in talent development, and that really is a reflection of both the workforce training, the workforce education going into who young people are and who's going into the workforce, but also that is an assessment of the employers of the state saying, hey, we like who we're getting. We don't have to retrain the workforce. They're ready. They show up. They're job ready. And you know, this is actually the second Job Growth Grant Fund award to Indian River State College. If you go back to about a year and a half ago, September 2022, the governor rolled out a package of awards, $30 million, kind of up and down the coast to Indian River, to a couple other colleges, to some local workforce boards, school districts focused on things like aviation, aerospace, military, and defense-related industries. The Department of Education that same year, through those awards, also made some apprenticeship grant awards here to Indian River and to a few other colleges and school districts. And I think it's important to reflect that these types of investments, what we're talking about here today, those prior, they're not by happenstance. They're not just because. They really are with intent and purpose, and they really are, like I said, moving at velocity with purpose to support these exciting young programs that really energize young people to want to participate in them, because these are exciting careers. And like this governor does, it's a career that's giving back to law enforcement, and it's giving back to the people who serve us and protect us. These are exciting research and development, manufacturing jobs. These are the kind of jobs that young people can leave here, start a business, create, innovate, and contribute at the same time. These aren't accidents at all. These are by design. These are intentional. And I think it's really, consider two things. You know, number one, under this governor's leadership, this state has really elevated and supported our law enforcement in so many different ways, the governor mentioned before. In addition, we've actually elevated manufacturing significantly in this state. We passed our neighbors to the north, Georgia, last year. Governor mentioned New York earlier. We passed New York last year as well, and we're going to leave them in the dust. And it is really at the same time, the state of Florida, under the governor's leadership, has become a home base for innovation and research and development, because really the workforce, the research and development, it's really seeding a future where, from an economic point of view, we don't just want to win today. We want the state 30, 40 years from now for kids who haven't been born yet, but they're going to be in the workforce, they're going to be in law enforcement, other critical professions, and we want them to have a great state. And we're doing the work now that's going to seed that future. The other thing is, 25 of our 28 state colleges have law enforcement academies. Those law enforcement academies annually graduate about 1,700 law enforcement officers. If you combine that with 9 of our state technical colleges, graduate about another 600 law enforcement officers every year. And our state colleges have a number of other programs that support law enforcement programs, studies in investigations, in intelligence. I really can't think of a better place for this program than Indian River State College, for what you do here, for what our college system is doing for our state, to have a partner like Diamond here locally, to work with and to really give young people an opportunity. And I think what's so special too is the values that we're talking about is both great for that high school graduate who's just looking for the elevate, but it's also great for that 30-year-old who wants to come back and uplift their circumstances and have a better career, and really opportunity exists here for both. Governor, thank you again for your leadership, your support for our state's workforce, for law enforcement, for our economy overall. It means Florida families are going to continue to be the beneficiaries. So thank you so much. And President Moore.
Governor, thank you. Secretary, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. This governor and his administration just don't speak the words. They put dollars into action and reinforce success to make the great things happen in this state. His goal is to have the #1 workforce educational program in the nation, and by 2030, we're going to get there through this college. His support has been instrumental. This building you're in right here, the Eastman Advanced Workforce Complex, $20 million plus from this governor's office to make sure this building came to life, and this is where we're training the new workforce of Florida, the most modern, technologically advanced building in the state. Nursing program, doubling the size of that. The governor helped us there. We're going on with Indiantown High School to train vocational and regional areas in rural parts of the state so these kids have opportunity. My role here as president is one thing: to get a kid in this classroom, to get life-changing education, to achieve their full God-given potential. I can't do that without our Board of Trustees who are in attendance today. I know we're pressed for time, Mr. Governor, but I want to make sure we give a shout out. My chairman's over here, Tony George from Martin County, Susie Karen from St. Lucie County, Jose Conrado from Indian River County, Crystal Luna from Okeechobee County, and on down the line. Our Milo Thornton's over here, law enforcement from Indian River County. And sir, thank you for your service as also an officer of the peace. And I want to take a moment to reflect on, we lost one of our students, didn't graduate with us, but Trooper Fink was a part of our family. We grieve for his loss, his team members, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Our public safety community is extraordinarily important to our ability to live between sanity and insanity. So this grant will help take technology off the shelf, put it to use to help those that help protect us. I cannot think of a more important way to demonstrate the value of education, the value of technology, and the value of leadership from the governor's position. We're so thrilled to have this opportunity. We won't disappoint. And as the secretary indicated, we have audacity of thought and velocity of execution, sir. We're going to think big, go fast, and make great things happen for this state. Thank you for your leadership, sir.
Good morning. As you heard, I am Catherine Marshall from Diamond Defense, and my partner right there, Lou Pellecchio. We'd like to thank you, Governor, for being here today, and for Dr. Moore. So a couple of years ago, Lou and I were living in Texas, and we came out to Fort Pierce to complete a couple of projects. During that time, we had the ability to meet with Dr. Moore and some of his staff and see what exactly this facility was made of. We saw their vision and where they were going, partnering with the state, the workforce innovations. That enticed us to actually move here to the Treasure Coast. We've actually fallen in love with this area. We love the beaches, the sunrises every day, and the wonderful business owners around here that we all get to work with. So after years of years of research and development, working with a panel of experts, some here at the college as well, we developed the Diamond Defense System. We filed for our patent last May, and we're finalizing that patent process as we speak. So our company now provides an array of cost-effective products and solutions designed to strengthen the infrastructure of a facility while supporting and enhancing assault protocols and responses to our schools. Excuse me. We have our products in religious centers, municipal buildings. So for several years, law enforcement has been reaching out continuously to provide products to them that are not currently available and at a price point that will fit into most budgets. We sought out to do that, but we were not in a position to bring it to scale. Well, today that has changed. We are thrilled to partner with IRSC and begin training in a series of precision fabrication accelerated courses that have not been offered to date. Serving as the first industry partner for this beta campus, we, along with IRSC, intend to demonstrate how workforce training can support the growth of small businesses and industry partners, promoting innovation and providing the training needed to have our workforce come out of here with skills that are marketable, skills that we can utilize in our businesses right here in Fort Pierce. So together we will validate the quality of the products, ensuring that it will provide the needed protection at the lowest possible cost point so that it will fit within even the smallest of budgets for our law enforcement. So I'd like to thank Dr. Moore and his staff, along with the state of Florida, for inviting Lou and I to be an integral part of this change.
Well, thanks. Well, we're excited about this. I think this is going to be something that's going to be meaningful. I think it's going to make a difference. We appreciate what Indian River State College is doing and will continue to do. We also appreciate really our state colleges around the state have stepped up and done a great job over these last many years. So we're excited about doing that. And with that, I'm happy to take a question or two. What do we got? Anybody out there? Yes, ma'am. Well, I think that's going to be what they're going to come up with. I mean, I think they're going to have a center where they're going to focus on the cutting edge technologies. They're going to be working with defense and law enforcement related industries who not only for employment, but also to see what's needed going forward. And I think you're going to see a great relationship here. And what happens is, one of the things that I've noticed just, because, you know, some of these governors, I mean, they like beg for businesses to come to their states. I just have people call me asking to come to Florida. Hey, I want to come. What do you do? So it's a little bit different. But one of the things that I found was that you can talk about the taxes, the regulation, all that, and that's important. And we're obviously much better than a New York or an Illinois or California, and we will always be as long as I have anything to say about that. I also think the public safety is important because that's collapsed in other parts of the country. People want to be safe. They're not going to live in unsafe communities, so they've come. But I can tell you, when you're talking about like manufacturing, all those things are important, but it's really workforce. If these companies know they have a pipeline of talent coming out with these skills, that is going to make them much more likely to come or expand in Florida. And this is going to be something where I bet you're going to see other companies locate to the Treasure Coast as a result of having something like this center here. And so it really builds off the success, which I think is really, really good. And we've made it a point to, when I became governor, we're going to be top by 2030 in workforce. We're on our way. But you have high schools who you can get certified now graduating high school. I mean, I know like on the Space Coast, they can go right to Elon Musk's company and work. You have others. I've talked to kids, seniors who get accepted to a good college, but then also have a welding certificate, and so they're trying to be hired. People are trying to hire them. So that, I think, has been really, really good, and we've really just tried to send a message. There's more than one way that you can be successful. It doesn't all go through a four-year brick and ivy institution. And in fact, in some cases, that is definitely not the best pathway. And we've had a lot of students go for years, go to school, go deep in debt. They get a degree in zombie studies or something. And it's like, okay, are the seas parting? No, they're not parting. So I think we've really focused on, let's look at these skills. but we believe these concrete skills are more relevant than ever, especially in a growing state. So I think you're going to see this really be something that contributes to what's already happening, but I think you're going to see probably us be able to attract more businesses in the area as a result of the commitment to workforce. Anybody else? Well, I think, fortunately, I think that the border is not typically, I mean, it's a mess, 100%. But I think when you're talking about the ballistics, like on the police cruiser and stuff, this is like, you're in somewhere, someone's, a drug dealer or something, and are they going to just shoot at the patrol car and run away? And if you have normal glass, that can kill the police officer, obviously. This, it will not kill the police officer, and it will stop the bullets. And so it will absolutely save lives. It will deter crimes from ever being committed against law enforcement because people will know that that's the case. Fortunately, on the border, although our guys have interdicted a lot of weapons, you typically don't have a lot of people coming across the border trying to engage in like an armed type of offensive operation. They're trying to come in. They just want to get to a federal official because they know the feds will release them back into the country. So that's kind of the name of the game with the border, and it's just a total mess and a total farce. But yes, we have helped out at the border. We were the first state to send help, I think, in 2021, and we've had people routinely there over these many years, and I just re-upped even more because I think it's really important to get as much barricade up on the border as possible. It is working. When people see the barricade, they don't go. So in that area of Texas, if you go back 2 months ago and now, I think it's down 80–90%. In terms of that coming. Now they're starting to go to California. Wait till they find out they get free health care if they go across the border. Probably going to be a lot more that are going to do that. But that's, I think, something. So I think we have an opportunity to really drive those numbers down to close to zero. It impacts every community in this country. And I just think about these Republicans in Washington. They were going to do the DHS secretary, the impeachment, and that failed yesterday. The Senate Republicans are working on this, quote, border deal, but really it was allowing Biden to just let people in. Like they say, oh, if there's 5,000, then you have to shut it down. But then when you read into it, it says Biden can override the shutdown. Well, of course he's going to override it. He opened it to begin with. And so they do this, and now all they've created in this situation is they've given Biden an opportunity to say, hey, he wanted to do something, and these Republicans stopped it. So it's kind of like Lucie with the football. We always expect these guys to actually get something done, and they never do. Look at the House. I mean, we added 4 Republicans just from Florida in 2022 election. Have they done anything to stop any of the problems with this government using the power of the purse? No, they haven't done anything. You look at the Republican National Committee, it's almost bankrupt. The chairman's going to likely quit. These guys are like the Keystone Cops. And I just think a lot of voters are really getting sick of it. I see a lot of failure theater. I see a lot of virtue signaling, but I don't see a lot of actual results. And I think Florida, we're much different than that because, we believe in, speaking softly and let our actions speak louder than our words. And so, yes, we go out and we make the case. We'll lay down the marker. But that's always followed with action and actually producing results. And that's what this is all about. And I look at the failures that happen in Washington over and over again, and you just think about it and you just shake your head. So all I can say is I'm glad we're hunkered down here in Florida because we'll make sure we get it done. Thanks, everybody. God bless.